welcome to another edition of OnSide SA, where Budge and I, and of course our international pundit Stevie B from London, will be running through what's coming up this weekend, what's happened, and as always, Budge, we start with last one standing. 8 women left, that's the first thing. They're hanging tough, the women.
8 of the 10. Paul, ladies are hanging tough, going well. Getting more experience, Paul.
92 out of 137.
Yeah.
That's very good. So we're down to 92. Those that went out were Luton 33, Wolves 11, and Aston Villa 1.
Yeah.
The bulk went through in Liverpool, Arsenal, Comfortables, Newcastle, Man City, Tottenham, Fulham. Now, not being able to pick the Liverpools, Newcastles.
Yeah. So it gets tougher,
Cities,
Paul.
It gets tougher. But it's still early in the contest when you think we're down to 92.
Yeah.
Always our special mention. I enjoy our special mentions, buds. I'm going to run through them. Johnny Arthur, Graham Pazane, Dave Harker, Graham Clark, is it Sarwar Khan?
Sarwar
Khan, Michael Knowles, Hassan Maul, big name in this contest.
Champion,
yeah, big name. Mark Curry, I've just been speaking to him on the phone, great Spurs man. Dean Latimer, Stan Berger, Gavin Wright, the baseballer.
Yeah.
Gary Citron without the E.
Without the E.
He's always involved, Gary. Vikesh Arul Nathan.
That works for Gary Green.
Lyle McNeil.
Yeah.
Dave and Devin O'Connor.
Yeah, Toti boys, Paul.
Toti boys from down the coast. Paul DeCarver, good racing man and breeder. Sheldon McCabe.
That's Colin's son.
Is that Colin's son? Is Colin out?
Yeah, still in. I mentioned last week.
He's still in. Gilberto da Silva.
Yeah, Crusaders
Michael Gouveia.
Yeah.
Jeff Ward, Jeremy Fleming, Craig Booth. And let's talk about Craig Booth.
Yeah.
He's in hospital.
Yeah, Paul, I think he had a mild heart attack, I think. Not there's a mild one, but have spoken to him. He's coming right on the mend.
Well, our thoughts go out to you, Craig. He's one of the Shamrocks.
Boy. I played Natal Schools under 16 with him. We went to Windhoek.
What position did he play?
He played up front then, but he ended up playing fullback at Shamrocks.
And then goalie. Craig, we're thinking about you, pal. Keith Gutter Gillespie. Yeah. He's always about good. Blaine Hamilton, another name we see a lot. Tony Bruce, the warm-up man. Ernie Wallace, previous winner.
Skipper Joe. He won the first one, Ernie.
And Arvin Naidu.
Yeah, Arvin, yeah.
Okay, that's it. So don't forget, get your bets. And when does it start, Budge?
Paul, Saturday, the early game, Brentford, Liverpool. There are 8 ladies that survived. Yes. Of the 2 post-net gang, there's Melissa Barnes, and Anthony Pollock. And to let everybody know, the tote favourite, Andre van Bussen.
Andrew from Boston, tote
got a
favourite.
Couple of picks, Paul.
He's got a couple left. So Andrew, we're with you. We will share your winnings. Let's hope it goes well for you. But there's still 92 of you. And one of them is, I don't know if he's still in, is our man Stevie B.
No.
He went with me.
I think he went on Newcastle. Steve, good morning.
I did, yeah. Newcastle saw me crash out.
4-4, like a lot of people.
Yeah, I was never in it as well. Okay, let's talk Champions League. You've been watching the games. I've just got highlights.
Yeah. Steve, did you watch the Man City Copenhagen game?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty comfortable. I think Pep was probably a little bit disappointed when they conceded. It was the only shot on target that Copenhagen had, but very comfortable. I think the thing that probably you'd be more concerned about, sort of Grealish and Silva picked up injuries when they'd actually... of having a good run of players back, but I think City will win the return leg comfortably and as expected.
Yeah, I didn't watch. I saw the highlights. I watched the RB Leipzig Bayern Munich game. RB Leipzig, Chiesa had chances, but they just haven't got players, Steve. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, I can't have them. They've got some weak players. I know their best player wasn't playing Bellingham, but they're going nowhere. They can't go. They may get, if they do get Man City in the final, have a chance in a one-off. But if Man City get them over 2 legs, they'll destroy them. But there was a good result, 1-0. The other game I watched last night was Lazio 1, Bayern Munich 0. Steve, you told us a stat before we went on air, and I can't believe it. Just repeat it, please. Even our viewers won't believe this.
Yeah, so Bayern Munich, it's a record for them. They've actually gone 2 games without a shot on target. So they had no shots on target for the first time in 8 years in the Bundesliga when they lost at Leverkusen. Yeah. And then last night they had 17 shots, none on target. Yeah. And then, as you said, the second half, Lazio had the opportunity. They could even have won it more comfortably. But there's just no cutting edge there with Bayern.
No, there's nothing.
Lots of pretty play, but they just didn't look like they were going to score.
Yeah, Kane up front, and is it Messiah, that youngster, plays on the right, plays on the left. He's a good player, but the penalty reminded me of the Chelsea Spurs game when Romero got sent off. Remember, he followed through. Yeah. That's what happened with the Lazio goal. But what annoyed me about Lazio, Steve, when it went down to 10 men, they should have gone for the jugular to get the second goal. But typical Italian, let's make sure we don't concede. And that could cost them in the second leg. But Bayern Munich, a poor side. I've watched them a couple of times, twice against Man United, who were woeful at the time. They're going nowhere. And the other game, PSG Real Sociedad, Steve. I didn't watch any of it. What do you think?
No, evidently it was. They deserve to win. PSG.
Yeah.
Mbappe obviously opened the scoring, and I think that Sociedad will give them a good game in Spain, but PSG should go through. But again, they're favourites to do that.
Yeah. Steve, I listened to quite a few English betting podcasts, and there's one team that they think can beat Man City in the Champions League. Who do you think it is?
Well, we've mentioned some of the big teams. It'd be interesting to see who they think. City are clear out front as favourites, followed by Real Madrid and Bayern Munich.
Yeah, you know who it is? It's Arsenal.
Yep.
The guy came, it was Danny Murphy I was listening to. He said Arsenal have got more chance of winning the Champions League than they have the league. I thought that was a funny statement, but his thing is over 2 legs. Man City Arsenal can compete with Man City.
Yeah, they're good side.
So that was the only 8-10 to 1, I think it was. So they were just saying to the viewers.
Well, assuming they get kept apart in the draw going forward.
Yeah.
But Arsenal have got a tricky game.
Porto,
they should come through against Porto. Yeah. But Porto are a decent side, but they do have the away leg first, Arsenal, so it'd probably be in their hands.
It was actually quite interesting just listening to the guys. I always get opinions from others, so I didn't even think Arsenal, because I thought if they get Man City, they won't beat them. But so on a one-off game, could be all right. Anyway, Steve, on to the weekend's Premiership fixtures. Lunchtime kickoff. Could this be an upset? Brentford versus Liverpool.
I'm not sure about an upset, but I think they surprised. I think that was a bit of a surprise result last week with Brentford on a poor run, winning at Wolves. Liverpool, we know we're going to score goals. It sounds like they could have 1 or 2 players back. Yep. So I think there'll certainly be goals, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Liverpool edge that. Maybe by 1, if not more.
Yeah, lunchtime kickoffs. So I was listening to guys say, how come Liverpool always get lunchtime kickoffs? I think they've played more early kickoffs than anybody.
It's not a bonus.
No, it's a TV. I think the demand to watch them play is immense. So I think Brentford will score here, Steve. I think there's plenty of goals. I know the early kickoffs. Brentford cost us last week. Their form was horrendous. I thought Wolves would get a result.
Me too.
But good result for them, and it's about time Brentford picked a few points up. Steve, they haven't kept a clean sheet bar last week. I think it's about 9 games, and that was their forte. So don't see it happening against Liverpool, but definitely goals in that particular clash. 1-3 Arsenal, Steve. They've won their last 4 since they've come back from Dubai. Surely they've got to beat Burnley.
Well, you would think so. After the way they played, destroyed West Ham last week.
Yeah.
I think of last season when they went 2 up, and you thought, right, they're going to like a roller coaster, and they sort of put the foot off the gas. Here they didn't. They just went for the jugular and just completely blew West Ham away. I can't see anything other than a comfortable away win.
Yeah, worst home record in the league, Burnley. So Vincent Kompany, your team's in severe trouble. Steve, Fulham, Aston Villa. And what I've seen, this should be a humdinger. You never know when you're going to get out of Aston Villa. But your home record's great. Won 5 of the last 7. Losing to Burnley of the 7 you've lost. Can you believe it?
That was a
shock. What do you think?
I think, definitely. I think there'll certainly be goals.
Yeah.
Villa, we've scored 5 in their last away win. Having said that, they've lost,
3 in a row.
At home they've lost 3 in a row, which is sort of bizarre. Look, it's going to be a tough game. I think that for me, I think if we got a draw, it would be a bad result. I think there'll be goals though.
Yeah.
But Villa are playing some lovely football. They've lost 1 or 2 key players at the back, and I think it's the sort of game that we've got to go for it because when we played up at Aston Villa, we created quite a few chances, but they caught us cold with a couple of early goals, and we lost 3-1.
Yeah, I think the big goal, Steve. 2-2, 3-0. This is going to be a humdinger. I saw over 3.5 goals at like 14-10. You know, Aston Villa lost to Man United last week, but I don't know how. They missed chance after chance. But I think this would be a good game for you to watch, Steve. Newcastle, Bournemouth. You know, Bournemouth have gone off the boil a bit, but they've scored, I think it's in 14 of the last 15 league games. Yeah. Newcastle, hot and cold. Great result last week. How do you see it going now?
Yeah, I think there'll be goals. You don't quite know what you're going to get with Newcastle at the moment. They've got 1 or 2 players coming back. Bournemouth, it's really strange. In the first half at Fulham last week, I mean, they were nowhere, and Fulham were probably 2 up, but could have been more. The second half, it was like the Alamo. I mean, Bournemouth obviously came out and pressed, and we sort of did well to hang on, really. But I think that Newcastle should edge it, but I think there'd be a close game.
Yeah, I thought it was like 22-10, Newcastle to win and both teams to score, so that would be my suggestion. Desperation clash at near the bottom. Notts Forest, West Ham. West Ham conceded 10 goals in the last 2 games. Yeah. How do you think they will rebound?
You'd think so, but they haven't sort of shown a lot of form in the last few weeks. Yeah. Forest, you know, put up a good show against Newcastle. Newcastle played well. I thought it was a decent game. I wouldn't be surprised if there was to be a winner. It would probably be Forest for me. You know, that they need points. You know, West Ham maybe flattered to deceive a little bit. You know, they're in a good position. I don't think they're going to finish much higher than they are, but they're certainly not going to be anywhere near the bottom. So, you know, I think David Moyes is under a lot of pressure, a lot of talk about whether or not he's going to have his contract extended. So, you know, I think West Ham are going to have to change that. They're certainly missing Michael Antonio up front. I mean, Bowen, you know, is good, but he's not a number 9. So I fancy if Forest score first, they should win that.
Yeah, I fancy West Ham, Steve. 10 goals conceded. The fans are baying for his blood. You know, and I think David Moyes, sums up his career. You know, when he comes under pressure, a lot of the clubs other than Man United, they rebound. And I think 19-10 is a good value bet. They're like 18-10 to score 2 goals. So I'll definitely have a couple of rand on that. Notts Forest have only won 1 of the last 7 home league games, and that was against Man United. But they concede too many goals for me, Steve. I agree. You know, Notts Forest, they have played well at home, but they concede too many. And I just think this has got David Moyes written all over it, rebound and sneaker, edgy 2-1 win, and then they'll be back for Europe. But this could go either way for me. But I just think David Moyes will rally the troops during the week and sneak something here. On to our second page, and we've got Tottenham Wolves. Paul, how many will you score this week?
Well, we've got a great home record. We play very, very well at home. What's very interesting for me is that Kuna's a top player. Do you remember the first league match he walked past United players? He destroyed and they lost. He's got a hat-trick this year. He's got 11 goals, possibly their best player. And he's out for a few months, unfortunately. So that definitely weakens them. And I think we lost to them. We should never have lost away.
2 goals late. Yeah.
Late. I think we'll beat them because of the availability of so many players in the squad.
Paul, the last 9 games, you've scored at least 2 goals. And
amazing.
yeah, you go through. I think there's only 1 game in the last 23 you never scored against. That was Man City. You lost 1-0.
Yeah.
So, definitely Spurs for me, Steve. How do you see it, though?
Yeah, I think so. I think Spurs, and I think they'll win without having to score in injury time. So, Wolves make themselves hard to beat, but disappointing results at home last week. But I think Tottenham are going to, continue their push for a Champions League place, and I think that they should win.
Yeah, 18-10. I think Wolves will score. They're always capable. That Pedro Neto, they still have a few tricky players, but 3-1, 4-1 for me. Yeah. Man City, Chelsea. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I thought City are going to be favourites. Again, you're not sure what you can get with Chelsea. They on Monday night, the first half they were so poor. Bad, they're just passing backwards and sideways. And once they scored, then they looked more comfortable. But you just think that City, are on a run at the moment, which is what they do after Christmas. And they're looking ominously slick. So I think there'll be goals, but I just see City winning.
Yeah, so this could be the end of Chelsea's quick resurgence.
They were rubbish. They were Crystal Palace. So the ironic thing is, Man City have won 13 and drawn 1 of the last 14 matches in all competitions. The draw was against who?
Spurs.
Crystal Palace. They drew 2-2 at home, remember?
They drew 3-3 with Spurs.
Spurs, yeah, it was just before that. And I can't have Chelsea, Steve. I think City will blow them away. Yeah. This will be 2-3 up early, and Chelsea may sneak one earlier. Funny thing though, the 4-4 game was
Grealish is out.
Grealish, but they got Doku. They got too many players.
They got too many players.
But, the first game was a brilliant game, 4-4. Remember that at Chelsea? But I just don't see it. City,
a good game.
City have got the bit between the teeth.
So Sheffield.
Yeah, Sheffield United upset everybody last week when beating Luton. Can they do it again against Brighton?
Yeah, that was a real surprise, in all honesty. They played each other recently in the Cup.
Yes.
And Brighton won 5-2 away.
Yeah.
I think this will be a little bit closer. I think Chris Wilder knows that they've got to start picking up points at home, because it's at home where they've been so disappointing, having sort of conceded 5 against Villa in their last home game. They can't afford to slip up. Brighton probably disappointed with the result last weekend, sort of taking the lead and then conceding very late. I think this will be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton edge it, but I think Sheffield United are just going to throw everything at them.
Brighton are very short priced.
That was a good result last week, so I think it'll be close. I think it's capable of holding them, Sheffield United, but you're just not sure what you're going to get with Brighton at the moment. That's the only thing.
Or Sheffield.
Well, they haven't won in 6 away from home, and they did draw 1-1 at home. I know it was a buster in the competition because I watched it, but you just never know. Sheffield United, they will score, but this has got over 2.5 goals written all over it, 7.5, 8-10. That's my suggestion. It could go either way, but you just never know with Brighton, Steve. The better team they play, the better they perform. But this is going to be a dogfight, and any results possible here. Talking to Luton at home against Man United, Steve, what do you think?
Well, United certainly seem to have turned the corner a little bit. I mean, they're scoring goals. I think if they can stop Luton from scoring, then I think they should win. And I fancy United by a couple of goals.
I like that striker for Luton.
Yeah.
The new boy up front.
Adebayo, I think his name's big and strong.
Good player.
Adebayo was at Fulham in the academy. We let him go cheaply.
Okay.
We always do that.
Get him back for about 30 million, Steve.
Get him back, Steve.
But the funny thing was, their last 11 games, Luton Town, they've scored in.
They're a good side.
They have a go.
What's that midfielder who played for England?
Ross Barkley.
He's playing well.
Yeah, if United don't defend, there'll be plenty of goals in this game. There's one thing about Luton.
3-2 written all over it.
Yeah, they direct. What I worry for Man United, Steve, is the wide players run with the ball, and the way Luton defend, they pack their back four.
Yeah.
So, but the boy up front starting to score, Højlund, the big goals.
Sunday at
Holland.
Yeah, Højlund guaranteed to score. I think he's 12-10 any time, so that'll be my suggestion.
Late game Sunday.
Yep. Everton, Crystal Palace. This will be a desperation game Monday night, Steve.
Yeah.
How do you see it going though?
I mean, Everton having sort of hauled themselves up a little bit despite the 10 points, find themselves in the bottom 3. And they desperately need a win. I mean, they put up a fight and they're hard to beat. But I think this is a huge game for Sean Dyche. Palace, look, they're without Eze and Elise, and they don't have much cutting edge up front. I think if there was to be a winner, I'd go for Everton.
I think there's going to be goals in this, Steve. I think Everton will grab one early and Palace have got to come out. Palace didn't play that bad in the first half against Chelsea. Obviously, without Elise and Eze, their chances of scoring are limited. But, I just think there's going to be goals in this particular game. And that's my suggestion. It is a desperate game, but Everton have got to go for it, which may leave themselves open at the back. But I think this is going to be a set-piece game, and whoever thrives on the set pieces will get the points. But if Everton don't get a result here, they're going to be in serious trouble. On to the championship, and we've got a good game on Friday night. West Brom, Southampton. Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, well, Southampton lost their unbeaten run, surprisingly, against Bristol City. And I saw the highlights and read the report, and Bristol were well worth it.
Yes.
I think that really was a bit of a shock, and I think that... but West Brom won again at home. They're strong at home, and I just wonder whether or not, they could, unless Southampton can sort of turn it round, I wouldn't be surprised if West Brom could catch them cold. Yeah,
when they lost 2-0 in that riot-affected game or supporter-affected game, they were competitive against Wolves. They've won the last 5 at home, Steve, and they don't give much away. Southampton, I saw the goals because we had it on ESPN here, the game against Bristol City, and Bristol City deservedly beat them. But Southampton were on an unbeaten 22-run game, so maybe they got a bit cocky. This is a big game for them because Leeds don't look like they're going to drop points.
Yeah, they've
gone second. And
Southampton got a game in hand over Leeds.
Yes, they have,
And Ipswich got a game in hand.
Yeah, but this is a tough game. This has got draw written all over it for me because Southampton aren't going to want to get beat, and West Brom at home don't give much away.
Be a good game.
1-0, 0-0 has got this. Yep. Now, one game there will be goals this weekend is Plymouth Leeds. I watched the FA Cup replay in a monsoon. The wind was howling it, and Leeds squeaked in, I think it was an extra time. They hit the bar 3 times, Steve. I think Leeds.
I watched it.
You go to football, you got to hit the bar.
Yeah.
I think it was a good game. I mean, Plymouth.
Jeez, they're good to watch.
They gave away a very late goal last night at home. But I think Leeds are on a run. They had a big 4-0 win at Swansea this week, and I think that they'll go to Plymouth. Certainly, I think there will be goals, but I just think Leeds' firepower will be too strong.
Yeah, Daniel Falk.
That's Daniel Falk. Yeah, good start.
Good coach.
I think they're the best team in the league, and I'll tell you why. I've backed Leicester 3 times this year. They haven't won any of the 3. I watched the Leicester-Leeds game at Leicester. It was a Friday night game. Leeds, I'd played them, I'd fought them, and they won 1-0, and it should have been more. I think Leeds is certainly automatic promotion. I know the other guys have got games on, but I've watched them twice. Yeah, I think they'll finish second, and 5-10. I think the bet we took was Leeds to win and over 2.5 goals. I think that was around about 12-10, because Plymouth always scores, so there should be goals. Steve, Birmingham, great result last night, beating Blackburn 1-0, or Tuesday night, should I say, against the Sunderland team, slowly dropping into mid-table. Can Tony Mowbray, against his former team, get a result?
Yeah, I think he can. I think that they'll be buoyed by that. Although, and they kept a clean sheet against Blackburn, who normally score. You're not sure what you're going to get with Sunderland. I mean, they were up there, and now they're just sort of, they're still up there, but they're just sort of they go lukewarm at times. And I think at home, I think Birmingham will want to push on. I think it'll be close if there was to be a winner, potentially Birmingham, but it would only be by a goal.
Yeah. Bristol City, I watched them in the Cup. They drew at West Ham and then they won the replay. The second leg they drew at they drew at home with Notts Forest and they lost the replay on penalties. They've got a lot of good young players, Steve. I think they'll beat QPR. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, QPR certainly
fighting
more
hard,
competitive at the moment. But Bristol City, it was a good result. And as you say, they got some good young players. Obviously, they sold one of their key young players this season, Alex Scott. But they've got a good batch, and they've got a decent academy, evidently. So I fancy Bristol City at home to be too strong.
Yeah, so do I. On to our next page, and we've got Huddersfield against Hull City. Both teams won in midweek. Hull City, Steve, I couldn't believe it when I had a look at the league log. They're right up there in the playoff places.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a good run, and I think they were expected to win during the week. Rotherham are in free fall. Huddersfield had a good win. They've had a couple of good home wins now, and they're just slightly pulling themselves away. Yeah. I think this will be a close game, a bit of a Yorkshire derby as such. But I think if there was to be a winner, I wouldn't be surprised if Hull go there and get a result.
Yeah, I think
they got a game in hand.
9-10, both teams to score.
To a point behind West Brom.
Yeah, it's getting tight in the Championship.
Very tight, yeah.
Leicester City should be too good for Middlesbrough, Steve.
Yeah, Middlesbrough have been pretty disappointing, and now they've sold one of their best young players. I think it's been a tough season for Michael Carrick. They never replaced Chapa Akpom's goals, and started slowly, picked themselves up, but they don't seem to be going anywhere at the moment. Leicester, despite sort of losing 1 or 2 games, if you look at the league table, there's still something like 12 clear. So, I think they're comfortable at the moment, and I think they'll carry on winning. Yeah,
I read the article in the Preston News. Carrick, he wasn't complaining, but he was hoping to try and get a couple of players in. And they sold their one player for Aston Villa for about 18 million.
Yeah.
You know, Preston rolled them last night, and we aren't the best of teams, but 6-10 Leicester. I think that'll be gone, more than likely shortened. But Leicester certainties over the weekend.
If they lost the next 4 games, they still lead the league.
Paul, they're not losing the next 4.
Yeah, I'm just saying, amazing lead, eh?
Yeah, I know. She's the first start. They won plenty in a row, yeah. Steve, Millwall, Sheffield, Wednesday. This is a desperation clash for the relegation zone anyway. Can't believe Millwall. I thought they'd have a good run this year, but they've been woeful. How do you see it?
Certainly since Gary Rowett left,
yes.
They had a shocking run. When they sacked him, they were sort of about halfway, and since then it's been really free fall. I watched a little bit of the game last night. It kicked off. I was watching that as well as the Bayern Munich game, and they were competitive to start. But once they started conceding, you could tell there was only one winner, and in the end, they lost 4-0 at home. So pretty disappointing. Sheffield Wednesday. Have just started. They had a little bit of resurgence and just slipped back a bit. This is a game that neither team can afford to lose.
Yeah.
I think Millwall probably still favourites at home, but I think Sheffield Wednesday are going to look at them and think this is an opportunity.
Yeah, these are tight games. Always avoid them, Steve, because Millwall won't want to get beat, and neither will Sheffield Wednesday. So my suggestion would be that under 2.5 goals or the draw, but in the Championship you never know. Team I've been back in the last few weeks, Steve, is Norwich City. 9-10, I think, is a decent price to beat Cardiff City. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Cardiff are very hot and cold. Lost again.
At West Brom
last night, and I fancy Norwich scored 4 against Watford the other night.
Yeah.
I fancy Norwich to be too strong for them. I think those are fairly decent odds.
Yeah, so do I. On to our final few games in the Championship, and my hometown boys, Preston, want to roll, Steve. Only problem is playing our local rivals, Blackburn. One thing that's certain about this is goals. I hope it's on ESPN.
Just looking at your stats.
Yeah.
Preston, the last 5 games, won 4 and lost 1.
Yeah.
And Blackburn lost all 6 away.
All from home, yeah. But Paul, local derby's form goes out the window. But Preston, Steve, he sneaked the level on points in the playoff, I see.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it's so tight for that 6th place between sort of 6th and 10th. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
I think that you can carry on your sort of winning run. I mean, Blackburn just concede so many goals. They just sort of really got off the boil. Yeah. And obviously with a change of manager, I fancy Preston to continue their winning run. Yeah,
only thing is, every time we get close, our bubble seems to burst, but we are in form. And what was strange, I wouldn't say last night, Steve, it was the 10th anniversary of Tom Finney's passing. So they put a new strip out, and the players were under pressure. But fortunately, we got a result 2-1. That, for me, I don't like backing my hometown boys, but goals are formality in that particular game. Bottom of the league, Rotherham against a struggling Watford team. Can Watford get back to winning ways? I think they will. Rotherham, I fear, have gone now. Yeah. I mean, 3 wins all season, another home defeat. They're effectively about 15 points adrift. I can't see them sort of plugging that gap. Watford got a couple of goals at Norwich. Ultimately, wasn't quite enough, but I think they'll be too strong for Rotherham. Yeah, 2 sides. Steve, I can't believe the price in the next game. Stoke were woeful. Another 1-0 last night. They beat QPR. But Coventry aren't a bad team.
They're a good team.
They cost us last week when I think they drew at QPR. But 15-10 is not a bad price. Do you agree? Yeah, I think Coventry, for me, probably be favourites. They left it late to get an equaliser last night, but they're a hard team to beat. They came from behind last week against Millwall to win. I just think that they're probably the stronger of the 2 sides. Yeah, I think 15-10 is a decent price, but I know there should be goals, especially Stoke. They've just gone off the boil. And last but not least, Steve, Swansea City at home against Ipswich. How do you see it? Well, it was, again, that both were involved in 4-0 games this week. Swansea lost at home 4-0 and Ipswich won away 4-0. I think after they had a little bit of a sticky run, Ipswich, and maybe they've turned the corner. Yeah. I think that they should certainly start as favourites. Yeah, Swansea a funny team. I can't catch them. They had 24 shots, got beat 1-0 when I needed them to score, and last week they went to Hull and won. So you just Hull and back, but. I'd go both teams to score there, Steve. That would be my suggestion. Ipswich score plenty of goals, but I watched them against Preston. First half, they were non-existent when my boys were 3-0 up, but they fought back 3-2, so it should be goals in that particular game. Steve, pressure time as always. I think I know who you're going for. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Actually, I'm going to go for Norwich City as my best bet. I think that at home they'll be too strong. My value, torn between a couple, but I might go for West Brom. I think there's a decent odds for them for a team that have won the last sort of 5 at home in a row in the league.
Yeah, mine's Bristol City, Steve. Took 9-10 yesterday, and I'm going to chance West Ham as my lurker. You know, they're not that bad a team. They've had 2 poor results, and you know, you're in that change room. The world's having abuse, so I think there's a lot of pride in it. I trust David Moyes, and at 19-10, I think it's worth a flutter. Yeah, Steve, thanks as always, and we'll speak over the weekend.
Cheers, Steve.
Pleasure. Bye.
Bye, Stevie.
All right, let's go PSL. We've got Rowley in the game. Firstly, let's talk about Bafana. Give me a
did great, Paul. You know, obviously I watched all the games. A little bit unlucky against Nigeria, but you know, you go into penalties. You know, the last 3 games were penalties.
They won it in normal time. Extra
Paul. Cape Verde with a better team, they had a better chances. We squeaked through there. Against Nigeria, we played well. It got to 1-1. We had a couple of chances. We lost on penalties, and the thing was, we drew, the 3rd and 4th playoff was 0-0. The game nobody wants to play, and we won on penalties. Boys did great.
I watched.
Good luck to them.
I read an article by Glistian. They're very interesting where they talk sport.
Yeah.
So they've got to review the system. He said you cannot have a team like the winners who get thumped 4-0. They're a bad 3rd in their group. They managed to go through because of some system, which they improved and they won. But the bottom line is it's go back to the old system. Top 2 go through. Top 2.
Paul, the problem is it's a number of teams.
Yes.
They did that in America. And we were there in 94.
Didn't balance out.
And Ireland finished 3rd in their group, and we watched them. They got beat by the Netherlands, and they were in Ireland. We watched them in Orlando. They went back to New York, and they had to come back again because they finished 3rd in the group. The supporters didn't know where they were going. Yes. You've either got to have 16 teams or 32 teams.
That's
Paul.
That's it.
You know, you can't have 24.
But and listen, if you're getting thumped and you're out, boom, you must go.
They fired the manager after they lost 4-0 to Equatorial Guinea. Right. But for me, it's a number of teams in the competition. You make it 32, 8 groups of 4.
That's it.
And or 16. You know, 4 groups of 4 the top. You can't have 24 because it's a nightmare. All they're trying to do is please people, but the competition it becomes a bit of a joke.
It's no good, especially when people are booking tickets to go watch games and
Paul,
whatever.
Wait till it happens. I don't know what the latest is in America. The next World Cup is in America, Mexico, and Canada. Can you imagine the poor supporters?
Gee, just going across America is a long way. You go from Florida to New York.
Well, that's 3. I go from Florida to San Francisco. It's 7 hours with the time zones in
San Francisco. Okay, but let's talk these games
PSL's
now.
back, Paul.
PSL, but well done to Bafana. You know, that new coach has done a very good job. Very proud of them. I thought they had no chance. They were stiff not to get to the final, and they could have won it. Well done. They deserve
all
mention.
the plaudits, Paul. Good luck to them.
Good luck to them. Right, let's talk about Super Sport.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a bit hard for the first week because the teams are on a roll. You don't want the league to stop.
Yes.
You know, because you've lost your momentum and so on. So this will be a good game.
3 plays 4.
Yeah, Paul, Stephen Barker's done a great job, you know.
He's up against Hunt.
He's up against Gavin. This game's been played in Petersburg, so there's no real benefit for Super Sport. But another game, both teams, Paul, 22-10 would be my suggestion.
Yes.
You know, Stellenbosch have won 6 and drawn 1 of their last 7 away from home. They've won 3 and they won the cup. So Gav's boys, they'll be fired up. But Gavin Hunt's not a bad coach, Paul. They'll be organised, smart man. Paul, 22-10 has to be the play.
But Chipper United wasn't their goalie for Nigeria. He did well.
He did all right. He threw the goal in the equaliser in the final.
Throw 1 or 2
but he did well, Paul. I like Cape Town City, Paul.
So do I. They're second in the log.
They're going well. 15-10. The game's in, I think it's in East London.
Okay.
So not far to travel for the Cape boys, but 15-10.
Quebec or whatever they call it, yeah. Okay.
15-10 for me.
Swallows are 11th and Polokwane are 10th.
Swallows have gone off the board. I've watched them a couple of times. But Paul, maybe the break is what they needed.
Get the Portuguese coach back in.
Yeah, the mad goalkeeper throwing his jacket around. Paul, at game 2, draw has to be the play, Paul.
Okay.
22-10. And Cape Town Spurs, you just never know. Paul, they've only won 1 game in 16, and I watched it. They beat Orlando Pirates.
Gee.
But that Ernst Middendorf's there now, so he'll have them tactically, tighten them up. Amazulu, they're not a bad team, Paul. I've watched them a couple of times, but the break is the problem. You never know what you're going to get. Another game where could be 0-0, 1-1, yeah?
Sekakuna, Richards Bay,
I like
12 plays
Sekakuna,
15.
Paul. I've watched them play a few times. They've got some good players. Richards Bay, hot and cold, Paul.
Yes.
Away from home, they've lost their last 3. You know, if there is a team to bet at a decent price, that would be my suggestion, Sekakuna.
Is 8 to 10 a good price for Sundowns?
Paul, all their main players played in the AFCON. They only arrived back yesterday.
Okay.
You know, so speaking to my man outside Wiseman, who's a massive Sundowns fan, and he said they've new squad, but they've got 2 teams there anyway. You know,
so it'll be a good game.
Could be a good game. This could be the upset of the weekend, Paul. Pirates will be sitting waiting for them. They're not playing Sundowns main 11, so they have a chance.
And then Budge, Royal Morning against Kaiser Chiefs.
Royal, that's Maritzburg, Paul. Kaiser Chiefs were going well before the break, but you know, you have a 6-week break, Paul. You know, your better players will be in the AFCON. The rest of them are training, playing friendly games. I like Chiefs, Paul, but the break worries me, yeah.
TS Galaxy against Golden Arrows.
There's goals in this, Paul. Every time I watch Arrows, a lot of good young players. They know one way, attack. But TS Galaxy, Paul, I think it's in Petersburg where they play. They're not a bad team either. They got beaten in the final by Stellenbosch on penalties. That should be the bet, TS Galaxy. But the first game is always
14 to 10. You
first
never know
game
when
back,
they come
Paul.
back. Yeah, you never know. But
6 weeks.
And Budge, most of those games being played Saturday.
All Saturday, except the first game Friday night.
And there's Sunday, TS
Sunday,
Galaxy.
Yeah. Royal AM, TS Galaxy on Sunday.
Okay, Budge, give me your interest in your bets.
Yeah, Paul,
your
and
6s, 10s and 13s.
Now, Paul, we kick off with a score 6. You know, I'm looking for the upset, the early kick-off, Brentford, Liverpool.
No,
I'm going Arsenal to beat Burnley. I've gone the field in the Fulham, Aston Villa game, field in the Newcastle, Bournemouth game, and ended up with 2 bankers. Tottenham to beat Wolves, Man City, Chelsea. So I've taken a chance, 3 fields, 3 bankers, 162. The second soccer 6 is our PSL one. I've gone Cape Town City, win and draw against Chipper. I've gone Polokwane City to avoid defeat against Swallows. I think Fulham can cause an upset by avoiding defeat against Aston Villa. Another game where I think it's got draw written all over it. Cape Town Spurs win and draw at home against Amazulu. I'm chancing a bank in this perm, Sekakuna United to beat Richards Bay. And I think Orlando Pirates won't get beat against a second-rate Sundowns team. They're not playing their top 14 players, Paul, so that's why I'm going 192.
Okay, what about your 10?
On to our score 10, I'm going Liverpool win and draw at Brentford, banking Leeds United to beat Plymouth Argyle, Arsenal to beat Burnley, the field in the Fulham Aston Villa game, Newcastle United win and draw at home against Bournemouth. On to our second page, I'm going the field in the Notts Forest West Ham game. Tottenham should be too good for Wolves. Birmingham, City and Sunderland have gone in the field in that particular match, and 2 bankers. Leicester to beat Middlesbrough and Man City to beat Chelsea, 216. On to the soccer 13. Start off with 3 bankers. I'm going Man City to beat Chelsea, Arsenal to beat Burnley and Tottenham to beat Wolves. The field in the Fulham Aston Villa game, Newcastle United to beat Bournemouth. The field in the Notts Forest West Ham United game, Sunderland to avoid defeat at Birmingham City. On to the second page, I'm going Bristol City to beat Queen's Park Rangers, Hull City win and draw at Huddersfield Town, banking Norwich City to beat Cardiff City. I don't see my Preston North End boys losing at home to Blackburn Rovers. Chancing Coventry City to win at Stoke City and Ipswich Town win and draw at Swansea City, 288.
My favourite page?
Budgie's bets, Paul. I'm going Arsenal to beat Burnley and over 2.5 total goals. Then I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score yes in the Fulham Aston Villa, Tottenham Wolves and Everton Crystal Palace game, 3,000 to 200. My team goals only, the odds are getting shorter and shorter, so I've had to add another team in. I'm going Fulham, Tottenham, Brighton, Man United and Everton, all to score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2, 3,000 to 200. Onto the championship, I'm going Leeds United to beat Plymouth Argyle and over 2.5 total goals. I'm going Bristol City to beat QPR and Norwich City to beat Cardiff City and over 2.5 goals in the Preston Blackburn Rovers game, 2,500 to 200. Likewise, the team goals, the odds on the both teams to score are shortening by the minute, so I've had to add another team. So I'm going Plymouth, Leeds United, Huddersfield, Hull City, Preston, Blackburn, Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday, and Rotherham, Watford. 3,800 to 200. They scored the last 5 of the last 6 at home. They scored the other night. It got me a few rand.
Okay.
On to Spain. where I'm going for a nice quartet. I'm going Atletico Madrid to beat Las Palmas, Granada to beat Almeria, and over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score yes in the Villarreal Getafe and Celta Vigo Barcelona fixture.
But how's our boy doing, the Man United boy at Getafe?
Outstanding. Paul scores most weeks.
Excellent.
No, he's coming back. That's guaranteed. The other Man United, Pelestri, he's at Granada. You can't believe he scored and made the goal. Paul, he's a good player. I was going to make them my bet of the week, but I'll be back in Granada in Spain the weekend. 11-10, can't believe it. Barcelona are struggling, conceding at will. So that's our bet there, 2,500 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or nix. So I'm going Arsenal to beat Burnley, Man City to beat Chelsea, Bristol City to beat QPR, Norwich to beat Cardiff, Inter Milan to beat Salernitana, and Granada to beat Almeria. 3,300 to 200.
Gee, there you go, Budge. That's very, very interesting. I think it's a tough week. Looking
it is, Paul. It's always a tough week.
They're shortening the odds on you, so you have to drag another leg
into it. That's the hard part, Paul.
That's the hard part. They're trying to get the money out of you by stretching you.
Yeah, Paul, you've got to look the other way, go both teams to score. No, but in the Championship, which is a popular league, the managers are all having a go, Paul.
Yeah, you have to.
Every point's a prisoner there, so...
Rotherham.
Guaranteed they'll score, Paul.
And then last one standing, 92 left. Guys, that's fantastic. 8 women. Andre van Bussen, or Andrew from Boston, is the tote favourite. And let's see how it goes. But until next time, stay on side.